Ukraine, Russia, France and Germany gathered in the Belarus capital of Minsk today against the backdrop of intense fighting and growing impatience to end the ongoing crisis in Ukraine. German Chancellor Angela Merkel said, quote, "There is a glimmer of hope, but no more," while Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko reportedly told his government that he would not flinch from declaring martial law if the peace talks collapsed. Later, we'll talk with a former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine and a former advisor to the Kremlin, but we begin with the latest on the Minsk talks with CCTV's Kate Parkinson. And Kate, what's the latest on those talks?
Well, the talks are still ongoing in Minsk. It could be an all-nighter. It's past 2 a.m. there. Certainly very difficult negotiations going on. The body language between the Russian and Ukrainian presidents at the start of the talks illustrating just how tough these negotiations were going to be. The handshake between Presidents Putin and Poroshenko was brief and without smiles. Russian media reporting now that the leaders of Ukraine, Russia, France and Germany with their diplomatic teams are working on the technical details of a document that could be signed at the end of these talks. It certainly seems like progress is being made, but Russian media also quoting the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov as saying that a joint statement could be signed, but that would happen perhaps tomorrow and not tonight.
And Kate, you know, the United States not represented at these talks, but when the German Chancellor Angela Merkel met with the United States President earlier this week, there looked to be a split between the two sides on whether to arm Ukrainian government forces. What's the latest on that? Do we know anything about that?
There certainly is a split between the United States and Kiev's European allies on the ongoing question of whether or not the United States should or will send defensive weapons to prop up Ukraine's beleaguered troops in the east of the country. The United States certainly weighing this option very carefully. Germany has been one of the countries that's spoken out very strongly against this. The German Chancellor Angela Merkel arguing that it would only serve to escalate the conflict further. And in fact, it is this division between the United States and Kiev's European allies that is thought to have prompted this flurry of democracy, this push for peace that's being spearheaded by France and Germany that led to the talks that are being held in Minsk as we speak now.
Right, Kate, and I've been looking at something that the Ukrainian leader Petro Poroshenko said on his arrival at those talks. He said either the situation goes down the road of de-escalation, ceasefire, or the situation goes out of control. And as we've just been reporting, he's reportedly said that his government will not flinch from declaring martial law if the talks fail. What can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. The Ukrainian president very much putting that out there. If the violence continues to rage in eastern Ukraine, he would not hesitate to introduce martial law across the country. This is a very big step. The last time martial law was used here was during the Second World War. It would effectively mean handing over all functions of government to the military and dissolving parliament. It's a very risky move if Poroshenko does do this. The chain of command in Ukraine's military is very loose. The military includes not only regular forces, but also dozens of paramilitary groups, heavily armed volunteer battalions. It certainly could have very serious consequences if the president decides to take that route.
Okay, thanks, Kate. That's CCTV's Kate Parkinson reporting.